Please remain seated. The show will begin in 3, 2...
Like a Hellcat.
Hi, I'm FandomTraveller87.
Wanna hear a ghost story?
Hello, ghoul friends and all those who are freaky chic. I'm FandomTraveller87 and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are having a fantastic Spooktober. Alright, and I do hope that you've been liking the story so far. A lot of time and energy goes into these types of projects. And I do want to apologize for the delay. You know, I've just been very busy the past couple of days, and I've been spending time with someone very, very special, who means the absolute world to me. And anyway, I hope that you will like and subscribe and check out all my other content. Your support is most appreciated. Alright, let's dive right back into the burial vault. Come now, dear traveler, join me once again as I tell more about this spine-tingling, eerie, nightmare-fueled adventure with Sam and Betsy. You really think that this is a good idea, Betsy? Asked Sam, as him and her were riding down the usual route to get to the Kingswood house. I'm just hoping that we're not too late, replied Betsy, seemingly quite nervous, and the fog once again had rolled in and was blinding them. It definitely seems way worse, shouted Sam. You really think it's gonna clear up soon? I'm not sure, responded Betsy. You did remember to bring the flashlights, right? I think so. Look, why don't we stop for a moment to catch our breath? I really don't think that we should waste any time, said Betsy. We really need to get to Mr. Foley. Then Betsy Ann jolted to a stop as her bike skidded off the bike lane, landing into a curb, and she had fallen off. And then, in his panic, Sam had placed his bike aside and ran to go check on her and helped her up. Are you okay? He asked. What was that? I don't know, replied Betsy, flustered. Then she looked down at Calypso. Apparently, her dog had gotten loose from the leash as the collar had come off. For some odd, unknown reason, perhaps it was just a little too loose. But then Calypso started barking and snarling at something, or perhaps someone, that was lurking around in the fog. Something that only the dog could see. And then something else happened. The dog, as well as Sam and Betsy, could also hear something else. Something that made them all shudder in utter fear. What in Sam Holy Hill is that? Stuttered Sam, his body trembling. And Betsy Ann just stands there frozen stiff, staring at her dog. Cal, get over here, Betsy called to Calypso. But Calypso just stayed put where she was, just dead center in the middle of the street, still barking and howling and snarling, baring her sharp, pearly whites at whatever or whomever was there. "I think we're lost," Sam shouted. "We need to do something. This fog isn't going away anytime soon. Why don't you see if you can get to your flashlight?" Betsy told him, half angrily and also petrified. With quivering hands, and while trying to compose himself while taking a deep breath, Sam exhaled sharply as he knelt down on the ground, and while sweating profusely, he rummages through his backpack as he unzips it rather quickly, digging through the bag, trying to get to his flashlight. Sam, we have a problem," shouted Betsy. "What's the matter now?" he asked, quite agitated at this point. "Sam?" Betsy chokes out. Sam groaned, rolling his eyes in annoyance, and in frustration runs his fingers through his hair, as he is still struggling to find his flashlight in his backpack. Ugh, for crying out loud, Betsy. You're really starting to... Sam didn't dare finish his sentence. What he saw emerging from the fog is something that he wished that he didn't. Oh, how he wished he could just rip his eyeballs right out of their sockets. It was the 12-foot-tall creature with the red orbs from its dark, hollow eye sockets to its sharp, jagged, knife-like teeth. Hair mostly covering its body from its head to its neckline all the way down to its spine. The rest of it was scaly, like a reptile. Sam couldn't believe his eyes. The first thing that he noted was the horns that were like a sheep or a ram's. This thing looked demonic. This thing had to have been the very thing that Sam would often hear in his bedroom closet. "Sam, what do we do?" Betsy whimpered. Sam didn't utter a word. What could he say? What could he do? He was paralyzed, entranced. This thing was staring into the very depths of his soul, piercing through his flesh like a knife, as though it had stunned him, and he felt the sharp pain in his chest, and his nose started to bleed again. Then the creature slowly opened its maw, and then it spoke. To this day, it still haunts Sam in his memory. "Oh, hell no!" hollered Betsy. She had quickly grabbed a large rock from the ground that laid at her feet, and she chucked it at the beast's head. As it struck the thing's skull, the thing had screeched so loud it was like nails on a chalkboard, and it almost had made Sam go deaf in one ear. "Sam, get on your bike and go," Betsy demanded. Sam snapped out of his shock and did as he was instructed, and Betsy and Calypso followed suit. But eventually, as the last 30 minutes had passed, and the fog had soon cleared, Sam and Betsy once again stopped and they realized that they had gone the wrong way. "Oh no," Sam said. "No way, no how. There is nothing you can say or do to make me go in there. And besides, don't you remember what Tom Foley said, that kids went missing if they so much as went near this place?" Betsy sighed. She shook her head. "Sam, listen to me. We don't have any other options. And just because we escaped that monster back there doesn't mean that it's going to stop looking for us. We need to go through the woods to get to the Kingswood house. All right? I will be behind you the whole time, okay? I'm not going to let anything happen to you. You're going to just have to trust me." Sam huffed. "Okay, okay. I trust you." The full moon had shone over the crooked, twisted trees of the woods that apparently had been swarmed with owls and ravens that were perched on their branches, staring down at the children. But Calypso didn't seem bothered by the birds. Betsy Ann checked her wristwatch. It was almost 8 o'clock. Way past curfew for her. She was missing supper again, and her grandmother was definitely not going to be pleased. "I'm sure that it's no big deal," said Sam reassuringly, even though he was lying through his teeth. He was just trying to lighten the mood. As they treaded down the path, deciding to eventually rest their legs, they both sat down against a willow tree and just decided to converse for a little bit. "You really are afraid to go home, aren't you?" asked Sam. Well, not really," said Betsy. "I mean, my grandma's cool and all. It's just, I know she just worries about me. Ever since my parents died, she's always been emotionally attached, and really, I'm the only family she has left." "What about you? What's your mom really like?" "You really want to know?" Sam asked, seemingly uncomfortable. "You don't have to answer that, honestly," replied Betsy. "I was just curious." Sam sighed. "My mom and I aren't exactly on the greatest terms," he said vaguely. "What do you mean?" asked Betsy, patiently. "Ever since my dad was killed in a really bad car crash, she just became very worse over time," Sam explained, reluctantly. "She blames me still. My dad was my best friend. He and I were always close. And ever since he's been gone, my mom's just been an absolute wreck, and she's just awful. I don't know how she could hate her own son, something that she had brought into this world. But deep down I know that she never really wanted me." Sam took a moment to compose himself, a single tear or two trailing down his cheeks. He wipes them away and sniffles. "It's no big deal, I guess. After all, what was I to expect? I just kind of wished that she would have shown some sort of emotion at the funeral. It just makes me wonder, would she hate him enough to... Sam had stopped. Betsy arched an eyebrow and tilted her head to the side, curiously. Sam? What's up? What are you thinking? Sam swallowed hard. I have a feeling, Sam said, in hesitation, that my mom somehow was involved in my dad's death 2 years ago. She could have orchestrated the whole thing. She could have had help. Honestly, who knows? And it's not like I can prove it, even though she always acted rather weird ever since my dad was buried. And even before then, too, but she's gotten so bad that it's like, well, I can barely recognize her. Even when my dad was alive, she was at least half decent. Now I'm not really sure who my mother is anymore. You know? You know what I mean? Yeah, Betsy Ann said. I've been thinking an awful lot about that creature. You know, when we saw that drawing of it, and then, well, you know, what we saw back there. Why do you think this creature exists? Why do you think that it's tormenting you? And why would it torment anybody, especially Silas's children? I'm not sure exactly why, Sam responded. Demons, they're just diabolical, they're manipulative, and they don't need to have a reason to hurt anyone. They just do. I wonder what sort of a connection it has to the Kingswood's house, Betsy said out loud. I wonder if Tom Foley knows anything about it too.
Do you
Maybe,
think that
said
Tom Foley
Sam.
actually saw the ghost of Lady Kingswood?
Honestly, I hope he's alright.
Asked Sam.
Me too, said
He
Betsy.
could have. You saw her too, didn't you? Actually, yeah, I have, and so have you, but honestly, it just makes me wonder. Where did this demon monster come from? Why specifically is it attached to the property where the Kingswood house sits on? From what I understand about dark spirits or demons, Betsy said that if anyone lives in any particular house that has a bad history or has something attached to it that is negative, the only thing that will make that negative thing stronger is negative emotions from someone else that's living. It could also feed off of someone's misery, especially someone's grief, someone's anger, someone's sadness. And that's what makes a demon stronger. Do you think that this creature was summoned by a conjuring spell of some sort, which could be connected to somebody possessing Farmer Marigold's scarecrow? Sam suggested. Or could it be connected to Mr. Kingswood's death? Maybe this thing had attacked him and had broken
his elbow and took off a few of his fingers and made it look like he killed himself.
It's quite possible, said Betsy. And I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if the police are in on this. The police? Sam repeated. That's a little far-fetched, don't you think? What would the police have anything to do with? Well, think about it. They've been trying to cover this up for a really long time, and it's always been an open and shut case with Mr. Kingswood's alleged suicide, right? And there have been rumors that his wife Felicia was a witch that practiced in the occult, supposedly, and had a connection with demons. But somebody well associated with the police probably had to use them to their advantage. Which begs the question. And I know that it seems a bit odd, but maybe it's plausible. Well, the only person I would know who is very connected with the police department is Mrs. McKinley, and she's a former cop. But you're not suggesting. Sam was cut off gently. Betsy held up her left hand. No. I'm not suggesting that Mrs. McKinley is. Well, I mean, I know that she's the only one that we know of that has any connection with the police, but Tom Foley was also questioned, remember? Maybe there was something else that he knows that he hasn't told us yet, that he has seen that went on that night when he was being interrogated. I mean, there's gotta be something else that we're missing here. Honestly, the police were practically wrapped around in the coils of the Kingswood family, the living descendants who paid them off pretty good to keep them quiet, and for them to change the autopsy report and the police report to make it look like it was just a suicide and not release anything to the press, and having to alter like the events to their own whim to fit their narrative. Honestly, but really, it's not like the police really had the aid of a demon monster. Honestly, it had to have been somebody else that was pulling the strings, and the cops were just a pawn. Perhaps, said Sam. I think you might be onto something. Come on, it's getting close to 9 o'clock. We really need to go find Tom, said Betsy. They gathered up all their stuff and grabbed their bikes and proceeded to hop on them. And then they heard something else. Leaves rustling, the wind picking up a bit, but something had rang in Betsy Ann's left ear, and it made her heart thump, and a chill ran down her spine. What's a little girl doing out here this late at night, in the woods, alone? Asked Sam, confused. Sam, that's not normal, she said. Something is very, very wrong here. We need to go, like, now. She ushered for him to get moving. They started to speed down the path, the wind picking up even faster now, and becoming much louder as it moaned and groaned. And Calypso was still
at Betsy Ann's side, trotting along, much calmer than the other two, who were completely freaked out. Okay, we're almost through the woods. We're almost out of here, she said reassuringly. Sam, are you all right? Yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm as cool as a cucumber. Everything is just fine. Was that a human child, or do you think that she was a, you know, Sam asked. A ghost? Betsy Ann chimed in. Most definitely. In my opinion, it sure seemed like it. Or maybe, just maybe, before she could finish the thought, that loud breathing from before, that hot breath tingling down her neck, an invisible force, once again brushing against her bare flesh, the bare flesh of her neck. Sam, we need to pedal faster. We need to pedal faster. No! She hollered. They wasted no time, speeding further down the path until they felt that their legs and muscles would give out completely. And eventually they reached a street light, and they were making a sharp turn around the corner. And Calypso was keeping up with them. Keep going, and don't stop. Don't turn around, Betsy told him. But what's going on? Was that breathing what we heard? Just just let's just not talk about it right now, Betsy insisted. Just keep going. Come on, let's do this. Sam didn't utter another word for the rest of the ride to the Kingswood house. And as soon as they had made it to the driveway of the rickety old estate, Sam and Betsy mounted off their bikes and parked them, leaning them up against an old oak tree. And Calypso had bumped into Betsy Ann's leg, letting out a soft whimper. Betsy Ann petted her dog comfortably before grabbing a hold of the leash tighter and taking out her flashlight finally from her jacket pocket. Alright, here's what we're going to need to do, she said, analyzing her surroundings. I think, well, my gut's telling me that we need to go through the back entrance. The back entrance? You mean where all those tombstones are at? Sam asked. Are you sure that's a good idea? Well, a part of me doesn't really trust going through the front door, said Betsy. I can't tell you why, but let's just go through the back entrance. Follow me. Betsy heads in the direction of the cemetery in the back of the property that goes on for 35 acres. Come on, Slowpoke, she said, calling behind him softly. It's okay. Just trust me, all right? Sam is thinking to himself, this is bad. This is really, really bad. He doesn't like it, but there's no way that he would just be waiting out here alone, keeping watch. And God knows where that creature's at. For all he knows, it could be watching them right now from afar, hiding in the shadows. So Sam catches up with Betsy, and once they reach the graveyard full of those tombstones, it makes Sam sick to his stomach. Alright, what's the plan when we find Tom? Asked Sam. I'm not sure just yet, replied Betsy, uncertain. We'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. Seriously? You don't have a plan? Sam is freaking out again, and Betsy just pats him on the back. Just chill out, will you? This is not easy for me either, but we're just gonna have to bite the bullet on this one. Okay? Sam sighed in defeat. Fine, I guess. So many thoughts were racing in Betsy and Sam's minds, and they just wondered where Tom Foley was in that house. What if he saw Felicia again? What if he had gotten lost? What if he had forgotten where he was? What if he is confused? Maybe in his old age, maybe his memory isn't what it used to be. Alright, ghoul friends and all those who are freaky chic, I'm going to end this video here. I'm your host, FandomTraveller87, and thank you so much for listening. I really hope that you enjoyed this story and look forward to the next part. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all future and juicy content. Please check out all my other videos. A lot of work, a lot of effort, and time and energy went into those. So please check those out and give them a like. Have a wonderful Spooktober and pleasant nightmares, everyone. Bye-bye.